Stephen King may be the king of horror writing, but some of the movies adapted from his stories failed to hit the mark, and they deserve another shot at success. Over the decades, the beloved stories of Stephen King have been frequently adapted for TV and film dozens of times. In fact, some of his stories have even received multiple adaptations expanding the original story, or bringing an older story up to date for modern audiences and horror fans to enjoy. However, with so many of King's stories receiving adaptations over the years, there has been a fair share of stories that made absolutely dreadful movies. Whether the budget was too low, the execution was lacking, or the directing was absent from everywhere that it could have benefited, these films failed to live up to the Stephen King name. Some of these stories are enthralling to read, but seeing them play out with lackluster adaptations need to be remade completely to do the original stories justice. Needful Things. Max von Sydow reaching out a locket and chain in Needful Things. Needful Things is a film about a man by the name of Gaunt who arrives in a small town in Maine and opens up an antique store. The shop is quaint and immediately draws in customers to peruse the wares provided by Mr. Gaunt. However, the shop is not as it appears, and Gaunt sells these goods for low prices, and a small favor from the buyer. Over time, Gaunt manages to play the townspeople off of each other and cause complete chaos. The story appears to be a fairly simple one to adapt, and while the acting and ending were generally favorable, the story was harshly compared to the source material. The story in the book focuses more on relationships between and the evil lurking in the town itself. Many of Stephen King's novels give voice to powers that exist beyond a single individual and influence those living within its bounds. However, the movie altered the story to make it much shallower, and simply focus on Gaunt as the villain with little nuance. Sleepwalkers. The Catman in Sleepwalkers. King is knowledgeable for writing lengthy stories with incredible detail and exploration throughout. However, when he wrote the screenplay for Sleepwalkers, it was likely a much more restrictive process. The film came in at just 91 minutes, and in that short time, the movie starts with a strong and intriguing premise. As the story progresses, the stakes get increasingly confusing and bizarre, and the whole film devolves into a half-baked story. When two sleepwalkers, or energy vampires, are the last of their kind, they do what they must in order to survive. This means finding virgin young girls and feeding off their energy through sensual means. The story showed some genuine promise, and King is known for his ability to expand a story to great lengths. If the movie were remade today, King should definitely build on the narrative he began crafting, but improve on the ending to make this a truly great movie. 6. Dreamcatcher.